Welcome to the end of semester edition of Weather and Climate Chat. This is being recorded on December 14th in the morning, as we are just a couple, almost, well, I guess you could say just 48 hours or less away from commencement. So we wish all of the graduates, class of 2017, happy life, right, Dr. Davis?
That's right.
Yeah.
And also, happy birthday to my sister today.
Congratulations to your sister. Is she in Ohio? Or
She's in Ohio, and
Okay.
they got about 2-3 inches
Okay.
of snow recently.
Okay.
With lake effect, of course.
Sounds good. All right. And we've actually had a moderately, I guess you could say, active December, at least using past Decembers as comparison when it was very warm and dry. This has been a little bit of a change from the past couple Decembers. And even had a couple of snow events, which, again, we haven't had in December for a couple of years. What's a little bit different about this December so far, Dr. Davis?
Well, we had that big snowstorm, which I was eating crow at because
I wasn't going to say anything.
I said that we weren't going to get any snow, and it happened.
Well, it's your fault. You said that. So since I love snow, I'm going to every year ask you to say that we're not going to get snow, so we get snow.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But we're experiencing a fairly weak La Nina at this point, which typically means a warmer but wetter northeast.
Mm-hmm.
And usually you're going to be getting systems, say, going a little further south of us and then coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. And that's what we saw last weekend on that Saturday when we had that overperforming storm that gave us some places 5 to 7 inches around the area, when the models were pretty much calling for 1 to 2 at most. And
actually, a couple days prior, they weren't really calling for anything in our neck of the woods.
And we got hit by a pretty significant storm coming out of the Gulf. Typically, if you get low pressures coming out of the southern United States, they're going to be tapping into that Gulf of Mexico moisture. And then when they run into that cold air that was sitting over the Great Lakes and Northeast, because we saw that big trough come down Tuesday last week.
Right.
And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week were all cold days.
Yes.
And that moisture ran into that colder air, and then you had the big snowstorm that we saw. Furthermore, the low pressure was going pretty much up the eastern seaboard and tapping into that cold air that was over the land and the relatively warm waters of the ocean, and that creates something known as baroclinicity, or a big change in temperature that then resulted in the low pretty much strengthening, and we saw a higher amount of snowfall as a result. Furthermore, we also had the jet stream that was over our region, and we had something known as a jet streak over the region, which is a faster embedded area within the jet stream itself. So you had great upper level divergence, which forced the low-level convergence to increase.
You're throwing out a lot of $5 words here.
I know.
It's okay. It's educational.
It is educational. But think about if you're moving more mass out from the upper levels of the atmosphere, you need to replace that from someplace else.
Right.
And if you're dealing with a low-pressure system where you have converging winds or air is moving in at the low, that air will be forced to rise more rapidly because of the evacuation of air aloft.
Right.
Which typically strengthens low pressures, and that's what we were seeing. And that's what gave us the heavier snowfall.
And there was also, what was extra tricky about this storm as well also was the sharp gradient from east to west. I don't know if you saw on my page, Monsoon Mike's Weather Headquarters, I circled Schuylkill County, which is the county that I live in. And Schuylkill County is only about 40, 50 miles wide. Western tip of Schuylkill County had a dusting. Eastern tip had 6-7 inches. So one county.
And on my Facebook page,
right,
I did mention that I was concerned about the 850 millibar dry slot that was pretty much sitting in place across central Pennsylvania.
Yeah, central Pennsylvania hardly got anything.
That's pretty much what inhibited the snowfall across areas like Harrisburg or State College from the storm that happened last weekend.
I noticed that, and it was kind of weird because I saw a map that showed snowfall cover around the United States, and you saw like this little hole over central Pennsylvania. Western Pennsylvania had snow, eastern Pennsylvania had snow, and Harrisburg had nothing.
Yeah, that's because of that dry slot that we saw at about 850 millibars, which is about 1 kilometer or so high, which is about 2/3 of a mile.
Now, while we're talking about the storm this past weekend, which, by the way, our wonderful friends at the not the National Weather Service, the Weather Channel named Benji. I'm not sure if you saw that. They're doing.
I did see Benji, and when I showed my students, I had to put the dog up.
Yes, yeah. They're doing the naming of storms again, and I didn't think that I would get into that, but from a social media perspective, I have a student here who's very good with social media. He said that it's actually a good thing because if I hashtag Benji in all of my Monsoon Mike posts, that brings my posts up when somebody clicks on Benji. So it's like, okay, I guess I'll participate in this naming of winter storms nonsense.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that because I'm still in the camp that naming winter storms is inappropriate.
Right.
I believe because no one ever remembers them.
Right. Right.
And it's just a concoction from the Weather Channel and not from any of the governmental agencies like National Weather Service or NOAA that endorse those names.
I'll agree
For
with
instance,
you
if I were to tell you, do you remember Winter Storm Brutus?
No.
How about Winter Storm Nemo?
Nope.
Do you remember that one?
I remember the name, but I don't remember exactly which one it was.
Do you know what happened?
Not really.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know it was around this area, but that's about it.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Well, back to the storm this weekend. We talked about it, the how it formed around here and why we got more snow than we were expecting. We should also mention though that a lot of parts of the southern part of the country got panhandle of Florida, very far western part of Florida, southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, Louisiana, even Texas. Got in on the snow. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the trough in the east was pretty well amplified.
Yeah.
And that cold air that was sitting over the eastern United States was free to go all the way down the panhandle region of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw some snow down there. Atlanta got some snow, too.
Yep.
Parts of Mississippi and Alabama, I believe, got snow as well.
So what kind of messed up situation was that the panhandle of Florida had snow on the ground, but Harrisburg didn't? That's the way it happened.
Yeah, it's just the way it happened with the cold air and the moisture coming in.
All right. Well, that's Benji. We'll putting Benji to rest now. I'll go along with it for a little bit. But Harrisburg finally did get a little bit of snow last night, which if you're listening to this show on a different day would have been Wednesday and a Thursday, because we had a second little winter storm that came through, which pretty much gave all of the state of Pennsylvania a little bit of snow. So talk about that.
Yeah, we had a clipper system come out of the Great Lakes, tapped in the moisture of the Great Lakes, which is not yet fully frozen over.
Right.
So you're going to get lake effect snows as a result, and that came in from the west, and that moisture then pretty much infiltrated the region, and areas like State College, Harrisburg, those areas actually got their snow. Okay.
So finally they got to participate in on it. Generally a 1 inch, 2 inch, maybe I saw a couple 3 inches like further western Pennsylvania, but generally,
it could be an orographic effect too.
Yeah. So generally a normal clipper type situation. Now everybody's eyes are set on this graduation this coming Saturday. And in past years, well, what am I talking about? I said that we didn't have to worry about anything the past couple Decembers, but actually I think it was last December we had a little...
Last December we had an ice storm.
Yeah.
Or potential for some ice.
That's right.
That happened and caused commencement to be delayed an hour.
Yeah, I think that was the only winter event of sorts that we had all December last year.
And we mainly had to be concerned because we're in a kind of a hilly area, so you're going to be getting a lot of those inversion layers, so you have the colder air develop at the surface, so you have that icing effect that could potentially happen.
Now, this graduation, fortunately, graduation 2017, does not look as active, fortunately, which is great for people traveling to see their daughters or sons graduating. It does look cold. I will say that if you're up bright and early on Saturday morning and getting pictures outside of Keystone, you're going to want to bundle up. It's going to be chilly. We got the trough in the East Coast here. Could be a couple snow flurries, maybe a snow shower, but that's about it. Would you agree?
Yeah, we're kind of caught between two systems right now, especially on Friday night when we have a coastal low that develops off Delmarva and Virginia coast around that area. But that looks like it's going to be going well out to sea, so only places like southern New Jersey would really have a flurry to be contending with. And we have another clipper system that's coming out of the Great Lakes, but that looks like it's going to be staying well to our north. So the moisture doesn't really affect us too much. I think in Kutztown local, you're not going to have a lot in the way of precip.
Maybe some periods of light snow, South Jersey, but this would be Friday night into early Saturday. So if you're traveling from South Jersey, if you happen to be a Monsoon Mike Dr. Davis fan from South Jersey, you might be dealing with a little bit of light snow, but not really here.
And then by Saturday morning, we have a high pressure coming in from the south.
Right.
And that's going to take hold by Saturday morning. So conditions should be fairly sunny, I would say, at that.
Yeah, let's see.
There is a little bit of moisture at 8:50, so there might be some lower level cloud coverage.
Yeah, let's see what
to start the day.
The
but
official,
you should be getting more in the way of fair skies as the day progresses.
All right, so the official weather forecast from the National Weather Service for 19530 is Friday night, slight chance of snow showers before 1 a.m., but only a 20% chance. Saturday, they're just going mostly sunny. They're not worried about anything on Saturday. So, yeah, I would agree with that. Maybe partly sunny, maybe mostly sunny is a little optimistic, but I think it's going to be mainly dry on Saturday.
Yeah, I would probably say partly sunny for the morning, but I would probably go mostly sunny by late morning, early afternoon.
So
as the high gets closer to our area.
So the long and short of it is a cold graduation, but not a graduation where you have to worry about stuff like last year. So that's good.
That's right. Much better conditions than last year.
Much better conditions. Beyond graduation, the Weather Service has a chance for rain or snow showers on Sunday. Did we see that on here? What are they saying here?
Probably with that system coming out of the south.
I'm not really seeing it
washing out as it's encroaching on West Virginia.
I'm not really seeing it on the models, but I guess they're thinking that maybe we get a stray shower from that system from the south. Next week, at least right now, it's kind of getting further out than we like to go, but next week looks kind of uneventful around here, so it looks like we might get a little bit of a break from this winter weather.
It looks like temperatures are starting to climb some as well.
Got a little ridge trying to come in here, so it looks fairly quiet next week. Maybe
here comes something.
No, actually, I talked too soon. As this run. Oh, okay, yeah. I talked too soon.
Well, we are talking while the models are updating right now.
Yeah, they're updating right now. So, okay, maybe mid next week we get rain. It looks like maybe some rain
because of that warmer air. But then it looks like the cold air comes in right after that.
So just to show you, so the long and short of it is as we get closer to Christmas, and I'm sure you're getting this a lot too, Dr. Davis, we're getting a lot of questions from people. What's Christmas going to be like? Don't want to lock in on anything now because the models have been waffling every single
there's
run.
A lot of volatility right now in models. There's really no good answer we can give at this point.
Here you go, Dr. Davis. Here's a perfect example. Okay, the 6Z, which was the run this morning, at 0Z on Wednesday, nothing. Same exact time, 0Z on Wednesday with the 12 o'clock run, we got rain.
Yeah,
that's
pretty steady rain.
That's a pretty big difference. So this is why we don't want to lock in on much other than...
And then this is also 6-7 days out that we're looking at.
Okay, well, we're not going to worry too much about that. And so for you folks out there that are worried about Christmas and all that, we plan to gather, you and I, again next week to discuss that.
Yes, we should have a better idea of what to expect for Christmas.
Yeah, but right now, we'll just say that we're going to have a fairly cold yet dry commencement. So happy commencement, happy graduation to our graduates. How was your semester, Dr. Davis? Getting off the weather a little bit and getting a little to lighter topics now.
My semester was pretty good. I just finished up my UST and physical finals.
Okay.
And I have my meteorology final tomorrow.
All right, awesome.
So the students can talk about the weather with me
taking it
one more time.
Taking it right to the end on a Friday on the day before graduation.
I am teaching climatology in the spring.
Okay.
So we'll be focusing more on the long-term variability in the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay, very good. And I also want to give props to one of your former students who I interviewed 2 days ago here on KUR and made an appearance on BCTV last night, much like you did a couple of months ago, Shayna Rose.
Yes, Shayna was one of my students, and she did a great job on KUR. I haven't seen her program yet for last night.
I have not seen it either.
I'm assuming she did very well on it.
No, she did very well on when I had her on Tuesday, so I would expect the same from her on the on BCTV. All right, Dr. Davis, congratulations on the end of another well-fought semester. And we'll see you back here. You and I will convene somewhere around a week from now, and we'll discuss Christmas and maybe New Year's and so forth, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, see you then.